Right.
Yeah.
I'm somebody at the camera, but you
Like,
know,
just
we'll
look at
see.
each other. He's so,
So this is Will Project. Okay, this current viewing we calling it Pushing Forward, and this is
I'm Julius Bullock.
Harvey Ross.
I'm Michael Wolf. These
Thank you.
these podcasts we're starting to do now, we're gonna try to get a set schedule to do constant content covering various topics from the perspective of Black men in a wheelchair. Of course, it'll be different perspectives later on in different episodes or shows. But for this point in time, we kind of settled on the topic of transportation because it's a big issue when it comes down to being in a wheelchair. And three people you got here are, have a nice experience with the ups and the downs of transportation. So one of the first things I felt like we should get out the way for maybe newcomers is transportation or independent transportation is possible. A lot of people, when they first get injured, the first thing comes to their mind is they have to be dependent on everybody for everything, but that's not true because all three of us actually drive. But it is a process to going from being recently injured to actually getting behind the wheel again, which, you know, we'll have a discussion about that during this session. But just to start, one of the things I like to first start out with is the possibilities that you have when it comes down to different injuries. So depending on your injury or level of injury, when people that's out there that have spinal injury already should already know that if you have full use of your arms, it's much more likely that you will be able to drive independently by yourself and it'd be cheaper for one, and you can do it relatively easy. But the higher up your injury is, it's still possible, but it will take more adaptable equipment, which Harvey's quad with, you know, he's experienced that, but you know, everything is possible. So I feel like at this point, I asked Julius, how do you feel about the whole process of going from, because you told us recently that you started out catching the bus, right, public transportation. What type of things you would like to talk about when it comes down to starting from not having your own personal transportation to where you are now, where you're driving your own?
Right. I think for one, it's way more accessible to have a vehicle, but you know, I think we gotta realize too, a lot of people that's in wheelchairs are not gonna be able to afford a vehicle. You know, thus we have the public transportation or medical vans for people like that. The thing with those is medical vans are time consuming and very uncomfortable in transportation. The same. We were just having a conversation about, you know, when I used to catch public transportation, it was 10 years plus ago. You know, I never thought about how the world is today, how dangerous it is for a person with a disability to catch public transportation now. So hopefully, somebody can come up with some things. That it used to be a thing back then where people with disabilities, they used to give them grants to help buy vehicles or something like that.
I think they still do that. It's one of those things too where that is time consuming, and also because somebody actually just told me I'm seeing a lot more people in wheelchairs since violence increased. That those fundings are like being drained faster.
And then we have to think about it's a lot of people in wheelchairs that just don't want to drive. You know, due to their injury, they're just scared. You know, I know when I first got in a wheelchair, I didn't think I was going to be able to do anything. Driving a car, love life, living on my own. I genuinely thought I was going to be in a nursing home. So to, you know, and I think what got me out of that mentality was meeting Harvey years and years ago, saying like, oh, this guy, you know. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I don't know, did you used to? I don't know why. I feel like when you first see me, you was catching the transit. You know, he didn't have a vehicle. He was catching the transit, and it was feasible to him at that time. And you know, along the way, he evolved to, hey, I got some kind of shape. But now I think, you know, driving for me is just it's a way of life. It's my independence. I think if I didn't have a car now, independence to be stripped away. So, yeah.
So you was talking about the affordability aspect of it. Yeah, that's one thing that I jumped over real fast. But of course, that's like I said in the midst of the conversation, we'll branch off the topics. Yeah, for people that's recently injured, not knowing what your background is, some people may come from money. Some people may know others that can, loan them a car, rent them a car, or even some people have the ability to be just given a car.
Right.
Or some people are already in a situation where they had a car when they were injured, so they just need to get the adaptive equipment. But that also costs too. I know mine was $1,236.63. I remember exactly like why does this cost so much? And it's such a necessity.
I'll say it again.
$1,236.63 for how much it costs. But I just thought it was extremely expensive because once somebody actually sees the actual equipment that you use to drive, you look at it like, why is this so expensive? Because I know people that usually, I think, whatever his name was, didn't matter, but he used 2 sticks to drive, and I thought, just do that. But that's really dangerous, and if you get pulled over with it, that's a ticket. There's no explaining how you drive and your legs don't work when you are required to have those that adaptive equipment in your car. But
Drive with your third leg.
right, so, right, whatever that is. So yeah, with when it comes down to affordability, there's different ways. Grants, like you said, you can have maybe family members. The GoFundMe thing is an option, and also here just
that only works if you're famous. I tried GoFundMe.
I think it got something to do with your
$300.
And I'm not sure if you guys ever seen the American Idol, America's Got Talent. If you got this sob story that people, I feel that kind of tend to do your thing.
You got to be Caucasian.
Whatever.
And they go back on that.
From my experience, it was more so my circle of influence wasn't big enough for me to reach out. Like I only had a few people that knew me enough and say, okay, here, I'll give to you. But I think if your network is bigger, it might work. But again, the option that I found that was fast, it was efficient, and is what I used. I went to Independence First. They have a Wiz loan program where as long as you have an income, your credit score got to be somewhat, decent. I had bad credit, so I mean, like I said, it was somewhat decent. It wasn't like 400 or 500, but like a low fives, something like that. But anyway, they just told me I need to have some source of income, which one was I was getting disability, and 2, I had a job that was like $7 an hour and only had like 4 hours a week, but it was showing that I had some income. Right. And because I have a disability, they knew they can count on my monthly check from disability. Right. They used that and they took that into account, and they gave me a loan to get the car that I have now. And I actually had it for 8 years. So it wasn't some type of dump car. It was a car that was only 5 years old, and I still have it. It's a pretty nice car. And then when it comes down to the hand control that was installed, I also got a grant for that. That was actually through crime victims. I got shot, so I was able to compensation for crime victims. I had to pay for it up front, but I was reimbursed at $1,236 to get the hand control done. But again, like I said, when it comes down to your injury, I didn't need a bunch of equipment like the forearm cage. Only thing I needed was the 2 sticks to go to the pedals.
I think like when you think about like just transportation in a whole, like it's just a such thing as like supply and demand. It's like if we look at the people with disabilities, it's like if it was feasible for everybody with disabilities to have a vehicle, put a lot of people out of business, man. A lot of people and insurance and insurance. Like Michael just said, he went through certain corporations for his vehicle. I went the straight and narrow, my credit, got the loan, got a co-signer.
You got a loan through a bank though?
Bank.
Okay.
Got my hand controls, paid for it cash. That way, if anything happens, I go get it fixed, versus waiting for.
But you had a co-signer. So you had somebody willing to co-sign for it. Were you working at that point?
No. They just looked at, the income I had, and primarily they go off of the co-signer's income.
Okay, so that was the barrier that you was able to jump across.
Right, but so it's with these companies, just the weight factor of if you need something fixed, I mean,
Oh, it's about car repair.
Well, let me know, once you
Oh,
get,
no,
once you get the
once-
vehicle,
once you
then
get the
you,
vehicle,
that's on
yeah.
you to pay for it.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
company,
no.
you don't go back to
When
the
it
company.
came with the winch loan, the only thing the winch loan did for me was put up the money
Right.
to the car dealership to actually pay for the car.
oh,
When it came down to payments, I had to make the payments
what
on my
about, like,
own.
the hand controls, like, dude.
The hand controls I had to that has to be paid in one payment.
So
When it
anything
come down
happens
to
to
get
it,
when it come down to getting the hand controls fixed, they have a warranty on where you can go in there and get it maintenance. But of course, everything runs out. I've had my car for 8 years, and I just had a mechanic that I know just tighten up the nuts and bolts that go to it. So I mean, but that's because I have a simple setup. I can have full dexterity and ability in my arms. If somebody have a cage or something like that, or some people even drive, and I haven't seen it personally myself, but some people drive that don't have full use of their arm. It's like a dot they can put in their forehead and control that. I won't drive that person, but I've heard that it's possible to drive. But one of the things too that I don't want to just skip over, when you said some people just don't want to drive, you still want to have some type of control over your independence, so you be able to transport yourself without waiting on like Transit Plus, because that's more like a bus service. You gotta be on their time, and you might have an appointment at 1 o'clock, and because you in the route, you get there at 10 o'clock, and then you gotta wait there 2 hours. There's a program through Transit Plus where they actually you can actually get a cab, but some restrictions depending on your insurance company. They only allow you to go to medical appointments. If you want to go to the mall real fast, you can't do it. You have to pay for the Uber.
Transit do it.
Right, but Transit Plus, they had a program at one point, which I think ran out. You had to pay a certain amount,
$250.
and then once it goes past your mileage, you have to pay the remaining factor. I think that was okay and perfectly fine. But again, it comes down to if you only getting disability, that can be a steep cost. So family and friends can help you out, but as far as like somebody that's in a situation where you get injured, you already wasn't set up, for success, you were already struggling, and that's another barrier that I guess,
I think another important factor too that we got to realize is, that what none of us are mentioning, and I think we all can attest to this, is like it took us a while. I don't think we just, got injured and
All this is all
and
right.
jumped
It's
into
all
the car. I think it's so much more.
stuff you got to deal
Right.
with when you first
Right.
injured. That
Especially
driving
right.
is not the first
Right,
thing.
especially myself. It's for me, even though the vehicle and the transportation is just one aspect of my independence, it was so many other key pieces that I needed to even think about driving or think about.
if we going down that road, because I thought my main purpose, because we started off with transportation, wasn't to jump past everything from point A, but I just think in anybody's journey, and this is just my personal opinion, you got to get your mental together first. Nothing is possible if you're not mentally ready for the life you got planned, ahead of you. So once you can actually come to terms with what happened to you, then of course, all of this other stuff will fall into place. But somebody can give you a car if you're not mentally ready to get out the bed and accept that you can't walk anymore. You gotta, that car is gonna be useless to you. So I understand you on that. But it didn't take me long. I didn't go through the process of I'm not gonna be able to do nothing. I can't go. My motivation was there to, I got to keep it moving, and only because somebody like Harvey, like you saying Harvey, a guy came to my room when I was in inpatient rehab and showed me some stuff, and I was like, if you can do it, I can do it. So I feel like this program and this podcast will help people out and know, as soon as you get disabled, don't look around you and see everybody's walking and feel like you somebody different. You just haven't been exposed to what's possible.
Right. That part is definitely hard, man. I've seen a lot of people walking and disabled, but it still was a challenge to, because where Harvey was when I got injured, I
Imagine
not there.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
And I was in there when I first got in. That was 7 years.
Physically, I couldn't even do a lot of stuff. So to even think about the transportation aspect, you're right, man. We gotta definitely, jump a couple of hurdles before we get to that aspect. But once you get to that aspect, transportation is a must, man. You definitely need to be able to have some feasible transportation. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, not to like make it seem like it's a bad thing to catch the bus. I couldn't do it. I can't say I couldn't do it. I refused to get on the bus to go anywhere. I actually,
Why
I
though?
went without.
It's a choice.
Right, it was just my preference to not. First of all, I got injured waiting on the bus, so my thing was never again public transportation. So I went without a lot of stuff. I don't want to call it.
PTSD for bus.
I was
City for
gonna say, I
transportation.
don't want to call it PTSD at this point anymore. I just thought in my head, I learned my lesson, and I didn't take it. I learned my lesson as don't hang around people that got guns or don't go out at nighttime. I took it as, see, this is why I should have been in the car, because the only reason why I was on that bus in the first place is because I wasn't able to rely on the transportation that I thought I was going to have. The situation, I can get all the way into another episode. But the point is, I was supposed to have been in the car, but I ended up being on the bus and I got shot. So I thought in my head, you know what? Never again. So everybody that became paralyzed, if you look back, you can say, oh, if I would have did that one little thing, it'd change. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be there. Okay, yeah, maybe, maybe not. So that was my thing. I'm not going to catch a bus. So my goal was to get back my independence, because I used to go without food sometimes, or not food, just my preference of food. I would miss out on things. I would miss out on a bunch of, after I got injured, I would miss out on family events. Just because I thought in my head, one of the things you told me earlier is I didn't want to burden anybody. I didn't want to have somebody, oh, you can go straight there, but now you got to pick me up, get my wheelchair in the car. I was like, I'd rather just, find a way to do it on my own, or just miss out. I missed out on stuff before.
I think for me, like just catching public transportation, man, to me, in reality, that was independence to me.
I met a lady on Transit Plus, and she asked me, she's like, why don't you just catch the bus? Because I told her I was tired of waiting on public transportation. Tired of waiting on Transit Plus. She's like, why don't you just catch the bus? I'm like, what? She's like, the bus is fun for me. She's like, I get to see things. It's like I'm independent. I get to, decide where I want to go and where I want to go. And I'm thought in my head. The first thing I thought in my head, like Harvey said, you white woman, you ain't got to worry about going into neighborhoods where you a target. Because the first thing I thought was like, if I get off the bus, rolling off the bus, I'm somebody gonna see me like, oh yeah, let me go.
But it's also,
I still didn't just wear any raggedy type of clothes. I look like I had something that can be taken. So I'm like, nah, I'm not finna be easy target.
This perception based too of like riding the bus, and like even when y'all was talking about like DVR and sponsors, like now there was a DVR used to buy.
DVR, for people that don't know, is the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation. They can help you with jobs and cars and stuff. Sorry,
but they used to buy whole vehicles, but you either had to have a job or you had to be going to school. But what happened is that people try to play on the system, so people would get a job or be going to school, they get a vehicle, then they quit. So now only thing DVR would pay for is the modifications. Right, you gotta get your own vehicle, and sad to say, just like everything else, went up. Modifications that went up. Modifications were like with a person like me that says I don't have full use of my hands like both of you all do. And by the way, all three of us are gunshot victims. That's how we got our disability. Yeah. But I'm a quad. I can transfer in and out of the car if I needed to. But it's much easier for me to have a vehicle with a ramp on it. I don't drive from my wheelchair. I transfer from my wheelchair to a driver's seat that goes up and down and spins in a circle.
Oh, so it do. We was wondering, like, it got to be cumbersome to pull up next to a driver chair.
I couldn't drive. I couldn't drive from my wheelchair. So my modifications were $25,000. Wow. Now today, they up there $40,000 just for the mod. So,
but that's ramp, the chair, and the
hand controls. Right. Now, if you just need hand controls, then you're looking at like 16. Now they got hand controls. They're not manual. In my car, I was going to get the manual ones, but now they're electronic. So you don't have to push as much. It's just easy. It's just an electric switch. It's so easy to drive now with the gas and brake. Like I drove slow as hell coming home. I got this car a couple weeks ago because it's touchy, it's electric. It's you ain't got to worry about the pole going down to the brake. Yeah. It's all electronic.
I see that. Push anything?
Yeah, you still push the rocker switch for the gas and the brake, but it's all electronic now.
I see what you're saying. So you don't actually see the actual contact. It's electronic.
There ain't no contact. It's all electronically programmed.
Okay, right. So instead of you actually seeing the bar and the pedals.
With the bar, he know how far he pushing it down to.
You don't need the foot brake in front of the gas. It's all wired.
You almost can say like it's like wireless.
It's like if he had that other piece, when you can push it down, you know how much gas to get.
Exactly.
You know,
You got to get used to
But
this.
is
one.
like you
And they can adjust the pressure that you put on it or whatever. But no, I got a brand new vehicle today with stuff that I have to drive. You're looking at $85,000. That's
$85,000.
$800 a
Somebody
month car
that
note.
nonsense.
So everybody don't have money.
Right.
And I got a job, but I still ain't got enough money to pay $100 a month for a vehicle. This ain't including insurance. Then to pay my rent and all this other stuff. No, it's
How
just
much
very
is your
expensive.
note?
How much is my car note? Well, I was able, so of course I was driving before this.
Right.
Family member of mine totaled my
A
other
lovely
vehicle.
family member decided to joyride.
He was a joyride. He actually tore it up in the, wait a minute. No, somebody hit my car while I was parked in the parking lot. Oh, totally. We'll talk more about this when we get off the podcast.
Yeah.
And totally. So my insurance company, even though I had my car since 2010, I guess with everything going, I got like $29,000 back for my car. That was a down payment for it. Altogether, with all the modifications done to the car, it was $55,000. So DVR paid for the modifications for $25,000. I put 20 down. So right now my car note is like $222 a month,
That's
which
dope.
is easily to do.
Oh, that's dope. I'm telling you, when he asked how much your car, I was finna say like, I'm quite sure he's doing something strange for a little change.
I didn't want to do nothing strange for a little change, so that's why
I gotta get this money, man.
So I put it down. I thought about not, putting that much down, but what would be the point? Or not, so you can get it over with. It's just like you put
Rainy
that
day
down.
fund, egg
So
nests.
no, so it's 20. Then I got insurance, which is separate. And that's like it went up from what my insurance was, so it's like $174 a month on top of that. But another thing I did was some of the money I got back, I paid off my credit cards. So now I ain't got no credit cards to pay. The only thing I'm really paying is my rent.
That's nice, but
I paid that for like a year too.
back to again the beginning. It took you a while to get to that point. But one of my biggest barriers when it, like I said, past the mental, past the getting your body right, your physical, just speaking on transportation, I didn't have a driver's license. So I had to go through that. Then you have to take, you had to take a the road test, the written test.
They had to get paid for it through EBR too when I took it.
And I wasn't able to do that too. I feel like it's a monopoly.
Your
It's
license.
2 people because they had a guy that's basically. No, I think this guy was named Dave. It's a monopoly on. There's only 2 people basically that do that in the entire state.
Every what?
The driver test.
Basically,
What driver test?
basically they come out and show you different hand control options that you can use, and you have to drive with them first for him to authorize you to go to DMV and take the test.
Yeah. See, y'all didn't do that, did y'all?
I did. I had to.
I
It
never
was
did
messed
that.
up because, like I said, I had to pay off tickets that I had to get my driver's license. I had to pay this guy beforehand, and then on top of it, you have to pay him by the hour. So if you don't catch on to this driving concept and how to use different hand controls, you have to pay him more. But
I went straight to the DMV.
You had your license out because you was 14 when you got in.
They came outside. The guy hopped in the car.
You have hand controls in there already?
I had portable hand controls.
But see, you had already been injured for years. You had skipped the line.
I don't think that the time span matter. I just think for some reason, they didn't check and see if you had certification from somebody.
How long ago? How long you been
don't have
driving?
to have certification.
When did you get your license? How long ago?
When you did it,
they want you to do that. You don't have to have certification for anybody. You don't have to.
they told me I had to have certification. That's one of the things too. Now that's good again.
When
By
did you get your
talking to different
license?
people.
How long ago?
Like 3 years ago.
See, that's why.
Right. Yeah. 'Cause when we did it,
You see, you was 14 when you got injured. You got injured a while ago. If you would have went through the process that we had to go to, now you can go get your license. Yeah, no, you got your license.
I didn't. Right.
Because you could have got injured. All they know, you could have been already had your driver's license when you got injured.
See, me,
So
I
you
had
just go there.
right. Me, I got mine back in like 2013. So at that point, they told me the only way you're gonna even be able to take this driver test, you gotta get certified by the state that you have the ability to drive these hand controls.
Y'all are doing it with modified hand controls.
Yours is modified.
Yours
You
is
know, you put
modified
them in there.
and
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's are portable.
First of all, let
You
me tell
just
you
skip this
something.
process, which is fine.
No, what I'm saying is nobody have to
You
approve.
got the bootleg
Nobody
license.
have to approve my hand controls.
You got your license out of
I order
the
them
Fruit
off
Loops
Amazon.
box.
When they come in the mail, I put them on the car and just go to
Okay,
the.
but again, what I'm trying to tell you is, if you don't have something in your car that say you are certified to use hand controls, you are subject to be liable for it. You're not certified by the state to drive
Yeah, you
legally
could.
with hand control with a modified car.
You get in an accident or something like that, and
I mean, you can
They
say yes or
could.
no. We both can be wrong. We both can be right. I don't know. I just know what I was told.
You're supposed to.
In the window of my car, it say I am certified to use these hand controls. If you don't have that, you get in jail.
You have some sort of device hooked up to your car controlling the gas and brake. I don't have that.
Yes, you do.
that's what hand
That's
controls
what
are.
portable hand controls are. You got some hooked up to the gas and to the
What
brake
you
control
talking
of the
about?
vehicle.
These are just like your. What I'm saying
You
is,
know what portable hand controls are?
what I'm saying is, y'all don't use portable, right?
No.
You could.
Right. Y'all use something that manually controls your car for y'all.
Yes.
No,
and
no,
yes,
it
we
don't
do.
control it for us.
No.
You got to push down on it and this and that.
Listen. We both in the
It's
same
some kind
thing.
of some kind of a
No, it's not.
device. It's a device, like a.
You have a
I
device
just got
as
the
well.
electric hand controls. The hand controls I had in my car before is the same hand controls that you
I
have.
just want to get some out the way, and we can probably drop this because we're gonna have to say we.
No, we not.
just-
We gonna finish this shit off. Oh well, we
No.
gonna finish this stuff off.
Right. Listen, the thing is that we both have hand controls. Yours are called portable because you can take them out of that car and put them into another car.
Right.
Ours are called permanent because they are fitted and customized
For
to
that.
that vehicle. The thing is that makes it hand control is because there is a device that's used to control the gas and the brake.
Right. So you guys need to be certified to use that device.
We
I don't
both
have
have
to be
the
certified.
same device. It's just the way it's hooked up.
Yeah, but you
Ours-
guys, yours is a little
Okay,
bit
that's
more.
why I said we're gonna just have to.
No,
agree
we
to
gotta
disagree.
know this is what the podcast.
We
is.
don't have any.
You guys are a little bit more technical.
No. We just need an expert for the next session to talk about transportation.
We don't need it because all three of us had cars
We are
outside.
not. No. We ain't
So when we
experts.
leave
We not
here,
experts on the
But you can
law.
show him that your car.
He's seen my hand control before. He is saying the same thing we saying. He talking about
So you
technical.
see that his is attached to the brake and the gas.
Right.
Yours
It's still a
is.
device. It's still
Right.
some sort of a.
So you saying your hand control? So you saying your hand control that you use as portable is not a device?
It's being controlled by.
No. I'm asking you.
Not a
No,
machine.
listen, I'm asking you this: are your hand controls a device?
Oh, I look at it like a tool.
Okay, so my hand controls
Just
are a
words.
tool as well. So we are going to agree to disagree.
Electric tool.
Ours is not.
His is
Mine is
not
not
electric.
electrical. I literally use the same thing you use. I
Yeah.
pull something down for gas. I push it for brake. It just mine
You got
don't
torque.
lay in my lap. Mine is up
Ain't gonna
here
steer
like
wheel.
it like no. Mine is underneath, connected to two bars to the wheel and to the gas and the brake, just like yours. The only thing is mine don't hang out on my lap. Mine is just have a bar to keep it up at the top. So if I
Yeah.
want to take my hand controls out, I can literally go down there and do the same
Yeah.
thing with the screw and take them out. So you have
And
a
mine's
medical
for like-
device
You
in
don't
your
have any
car.
electric, nothing.
No, you have a medical device in your car that you're supposed to be certified to use. Because you didn't do that, that's perfectly fine. You haven't gotten pulled over and they said nothing about it to
No,
you.
we just snitched on him. You're going to
No. Because a lot of officers
Oh,
don't
I'm
even look
joking.
at that if you get pulled over and say,
They
what
don't
you got
do
going
that.
on here? Because they not. A lot of officers don't even know the Constitution. They tell you got to do stuff just because they feel like they're an authority.
But I have got pulled over without license with those in my car, and he was
Right,
like,
and again,
and he
maybe that
asked me-
officer,
they
maybe that
asked me-
officer was like, okay, cool.
"I
I
asked me what are you doing about? I'm in a wheelchair, I'm paralyzed. Oh, okay, these are what you drive with. Yep, okay.
But
All
you
right.
do have your driving license was suspended. You just
Now I
haven't
do
doing
it. But before I got them, I had just portable hand controls.
My whole thing, getting
Oh.
back to this whole, the point of this is that we have medical devices that you can use to drive. Now, as far as you being certified on stuff, we have to bring on the actual specialist, somebody that can say this is what you need to do versus what you don't need to do, because laws are subject to change all the time.
And sometimes people will just tell you certain things, and you believe you gotta get. You know what I'm saying?
Right, that could be one of the things too. We could have, like he said, it could be one of the things where it's just something that we took an extra precaution to do. You don't actually necessarily have to do it, because we could have went to the DMV and somebody could have said, "Well, I don't care. If you know how to drive with that, go right ahead." You know what I'm saying?
There's no paper when you go there. There's no
If
paper.
they would have went to the supervisor and they was new and said, "Well, how am I supposed to take care of this person?" They wanted to teach them the right way and say, "Well, yeah, they need to have this type of certified papers." But that's what I was told. My guy, his name is Enoch. Actually, I asked him. I was coming out of Walmart and I seen him jump in his car. I'm like, "Man, you driving?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, how you do it?" He's like, "I just use this stick." And I'm like, "That ain't dangerous." He's like, "Man, I've been doing this for 10 years." I'm like, "Whoa," you know what I'm saying? That's crazy, you know what I'm saying? But I know people too that you crashed the car before trying to use a stick and doing your first time and everything. When you figured out that's not safe, I might as well get some hand
Oh,
control.
that
So
happened.
you
I
let me
ain't
know.
know about that.
Sure.
Yeah, you told me about driving him down the alley and
I was
stuff.
18, man.
Wow.
Mistakes.
Yeah, so
I didn't know nothing about Porter. I didn't know nothing about hand controls when I
right, and so that's why I'm saying when it came down to me first getting injured, I had to do my research because I looked at stuff and I was like, what's possible and what's what's the right way to do it.
I do know when you go to DMV, there's no. You
They're not
volunteer-
right. They're
you
not
can
going to
volunteer-
ask
You can
you.
volunteer a paper to them and say,
Right.
"Hey, I got this," but there's no.
But if you
paper
go
for-
through the
that they say,
process,
give me this.
yeah,
or you
and
can't.
he's telling the truth. But if you go through the process like you're supposed to go through,
Right.
then we got to do what we did.
First,
Now
Just-
what
just-
you're doing,
just back to
costs money.
just back to mine. When I went to the DMV and I asked them, I get my driver's license, they said, "You got a driver's license already?" Now, basically, I had a license that was suspended, and they told me, "Well,
Right.
you have to do the written and the driving exam over because you are injured now. And the only way
Right.
you're gonna be to do that test is by getting certified that you can actually use these hand controls.
You
Then
got
you
lucky.
come back in here and take the test. That may be something that you didn't have to go through, and I'm happy for you. But my process was just that, and I feel like that's what I
Because
ended up
driving,
going
they always
through.
told me that driving was a privilege. You know what I'm saying?
That's supposed to be a privilege to everybody
It is,
according to
right.
the law. But if you want to go ahead and go back into the whole words of things and driving versus transporting yourself, it's another fight about in the Constitution about that as well. As long as you're not doing transporting, and they call it driving when you're doing commerce. If I'm just transporting my property, I don't even have to have a license to register my cars. All this type of stuff that they use. I think it's called a black book of laws.
I think if it's something that's connected to the steering wheel, then
None of our my hand control, just like yours, it's not connected to the steering wheel. It's literally connected to bars that are just mounted.
it's easy too.
Yeah, if you got, first of all, I told Ace that. Ace is one of the guys who I wanted to have on. He didn't get back to me in time, but I wanted to bring him on as well because he's a quad and he used hand controls that are portable. And I told him, like, man, why don't you get permanent hand controls? He's like, I got multiple cars. Okay, that makes sense. But see, me, I got portable hand controls because I use those to go test drive different cars before I actually got my car. When I got my car, I said, I'm gonna put permanent hand controls in here because at this point, I don't have to worry about transporting, or moving around. Because I know when you transfer, you got to move them sticks and them bars from your legs. If somebody else want to drive your car, they got to move. They can't drive with them hand controls attached to the pedals. If you want to do valet, they're going to be like, you got to take these off. I don't have to worry about that. I get out my car and they can use the pedals with their feet. And the only thing they're going to see is the little bar on the side moving. So that's why I feel like
They can use my pedals with the feet. They just, of course, like you said, let the bar up.
they got to take them off the pedals.
Like,
Yours,
the bar up. The way my bars, they so skinny.
are they at the top of the
They're
pedal?
so skinny to where you can still put your whole feet on the gas and brake.
Okay.
All you gotta do is just
One of the things too that's the difference between portable hand controls is the way they attach on there. I had a pair of hand controls that I tried to test drive an Audi, and I couldn't even test drive because the actual the fixture wouldn't clamp onto that style of pedal. Some pedals, it's just like
you got a hump in
older
the back.
cars.
Yeah.
Right. There you go, get the hump in the back. And some of them just like a little bar and the gas pedal was a longer pedal, but again, it's just various portable hand controls that when you got
what are yours
I
considered?
mean, not permanent. That's a barrier again you will have to run into when you got portable hand controls off the different type of pedals. But the downside of having permanent hand controls, you can't switch them to different cars, or even try. Even if you
Yours
go,
is permanent.
mine is called permanent because they actually mount it into the car, and they
still
stay
cannot
in
screw them
there.
and pull them out.
Yeah,
But
you wouldn't want to. I'm just telling you that you wouldn't want to because unless you mechanically inclined to put them back in there, you don't want to.
Yeah,
mess
totally.
around
No,
with it.
yeah, for
Because
sure.
another thing too is that just like with both set of hand controls, whether it's portable or permanent, it get loose. So if you were to leave your portable hand controls in there, once the screws loosened up, now you got to go back in there and tighten them again because you don't want to end up with it falling off. But with
That's true.
permanent hand controls, you're less likely for that to happen.
If I actually did a little trick probably last year, it's been working ever since. I got some Gorilla Glue.
So Gorilla Glue.
Tighten the screws up really tight and then put the Gorilla Glue all over the screws.
Yeah, so you down there made yourself permanent, but who will drive the car?
It's
That,
no.
gotta worry about it.
God,
So yeah, but anyway,
where you
that's
keep that shit?
that's
People from
that-
the risk.
but like you just got to say it before. You gotta do what you gotta
You gotta
do.
do what you gotta do,
You
baby.
become real
That's what's
intuitive
popping,
once
cuz.
you come with a lot of good ideas, but you need to get
What's all this
something.
monkey shit on here?
But for again, this is for like our personal experiences, may help other people out there, but it obviously other people experiences that we didn't have to experience. Like again, some people that are in power wheelchairs, they won't have the ability to get in an actual per se car. You have an SUV, which is like to me the best thing to a
Well,
car because you used to have a van, which
right,
I
the
thought in my head,
minivans.
the van is it's
Way
bigger.
more room in there, yeah. With the SUV, one good thing about it is no room for me to fall. Transferring from my chair to the seat. Because it's that tight.
An SUV.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just smaller and I don't know, I guess between that, the only thing is in all actuality, before I got this car, I was looking at it was a 2021 Chrysler Pacifica.
It's like
It's a minivan.
okay, yeah.
But these ain't regular minivans.
I love the Pacific.
They-
You
they
go up
longer in
in
the
there,
back, right?
yeah. This one had like the sport kit on it.
I love them.
Man, it's like going that thing is like you in a spaceship.
Yeah, but I love the things.
No,
man.
yeah, and there's a lot of room,
I really want them. Things
but
are
it's just
beautiful
expensive. And now they,
and
you know,
huge.
with the Explorer, they stopped making modifications for the Explorer in 2017 because now all the Explorers are four-wheel drive. You can't put modifications on.
That's one of the things though
drive.
too. I don't like American cars. Just
That's what a lot because they're more expensive to take care of. Parts, but
I don't think no American car. I don't feel like they're more expensive. I just think that
Oh,
you
you
gotta
get-
deal something more frequently.
that's what people say because I know when you get, but even when it comes to modification, when you get minivans, everybody prefer Toyotas and stuff like that because you can run the miles up on them things like
Okay.
ain't nothing. You get 200,000 miles.
Do you
on
notice
Toyota.
that you gotta pay more gas because your car heavier?
I filled my car for the first time yesterday. I paid $65. And my wallet started screaming. I was like, because I'm thinking it ain't as big as a minivan.
Right. You ain't got no. You ain't got no
Yeah,
problem.
but it was $65. I was like, yeah.
But how much was it per gallon though?
Right now it's 309 here. I talked to my sister. She said, yes, in Georgia only two.
Well,
250.
because of course
It costs you really $30-some because you got that truck, so I'm sure you got a reserve tank.
No, it's not. It's just a regular gas
You
tank.
got 2 gas tanks on it.
for what?
Trucks they have 2.
Yeah, but this
tanks.
is smaller than the minivan though. It's only one. I know what you're saying. I think it's only
I never
no.
heard no two.
Yeah,
no two.
like
Yeah,
a
do
reserve
one
tank.
do have a
Yeah.
reserve tank. Yeah.
Reserve tank?
For your gas. So it's that's why the filling up this thing ain't putting.
Well, I got a 20. What did he
$65.
say? Did he say I have a 20-gallon gas tank on my car?
So now, even with your transportation, so I know me when I transfer and put my chair in the car, I put mine in the passenger seat. So of course if I'm riding by myself, I got space to put 2 more different things in my back seat, which of course my chair is in the passenger seat and my 2 wheels are in the seat behind it, and I got an open spot. But if somebody ride with me, then they just put my chair in the trunk and I got more space.
You do the same thing with your chair?
I put in the back seat.
The whole thing?
Yeah, whole chair. Yeah, I break it, take the wheels and stuff off, but
You put your wheels on top of the actual chair.
then I just put or I put it behind the passenger seat.
So, but in essence, you got 2 open seats. If you put your wheelchair in your back seat and the wheels on top of it, you got the passenger seat and you got another back seat.
Yeah.
See, yeah, mine the way I put mine in, I got 1 seat. I got my wheelchair in the front and my wheels behind it. And of course, my cushion underneath there because it helps save the seat. I turn my cushion upside down, so the part I sit on is on the seat, and I put my wheels on top of the back of it. So I be trying to stay clean because that wheelchair when you rolling around and get dirt, especially when it comes out of weather, man.
Right.
Transportation, and that's another thing too. Transportation is big when you in Wisconsin because you got rain, sleet, snow, and stuff like that. You come down to having snow and you trying to be on a bus and you got to work because I'm not sure if y'all actually been in certain areas where the shoveling is, I'm gonna
That's
say
everywhere.
piss poor.
Yeah.
You have to literally take the entire block to get
Yeah.
off. You gotta go the length of the block to just get off the curb because it's snow piled up.
Right.
And that's again one of them things where it's a barrier. So having transportation, a car you can pull out of a garage or you got your own spot.
True.
That's like, man.
Only one good part of transportation is I first realized the other day too that taking transit is better. You got doctor's appointments. I drove around. I didn't even miss my whole appointment trying to find a parking space.
They do valet.
Absolutely.
But everybody can't valet. I don't with this car now.
And me personally,
ain't
I don't.
Oh, you got a different setup.
Yeah, they
So,
would try to,
so if somebody got in your car, they can't just use your pedals.
yeah, but they would have to. There's a button on there. I have to. It would have to be reset because I turned it off
Right,
totally,
you
so you
tweaked it for
can't.
you.
Yeah, because when I
You
was
tweaked it for you.
before I used
Yeah.
this, I had
And me personally, I do not. I repeat, I do not like anyone driving my vehicle because how everything is set up is for me.
right.
Plus, the valet, it's kind of like your room. You're able to put stuff where you want, and you go back in your room. Is there? I don't want to have to take my stuff out of my car, valuables, to valet a car.
Now, see me when it comes down to valet, I love the permanent hand control because I just get out my car and it's a memory button on my car where it put my seat back. So I'm in my car driving. Now, actually, let me start. When I go up to my car, I transfer in and I press 1 on its memory setting. I press 1 and it goes to the position where I drive. Now, once I get to valet or where I'm getting ready to get out the car, I press 2 and it let my seat back and the back press back. So I got room and clearance to pull my chair back and forth over me. And I'll leave that way until when I come back in to get in the car. And I still got that space. I'm getting ready to drive, press 1 to come back up. So valet is perfectly fine to me, no matter what they do with the chair manually, with their hand, because it's not manually, automatically where you do the up and down or whatever. When I get back in the car, I just press 1 to go and put everything back to where it is.
Somebody drive my car to me is the equivalent of drinking out of my cup.
Right, yeah. That makes
I
sense.
just feel uncomfortable to let somebody drive my
And I didn't
car.
mind them valeting the car because most of the time when I valeted my other car, a lot of the valet people who I let valet is like, no, we've done because so many people do.
Yeah.
They use hand controls because I was like, you can do it with the kids. Like, no, I know how to use
That's
hand
they do that in my
but
car
this
too.
electric
valet.
one, no, you're not gonna do it. And I gotta ask the people at the dealership.
You would have been
I
welcome
gotta
to get
turn
kicked
it
out
off.
of that. I learned how to use your hand
Yeah,
control.
they want
They
to use
they
them.
asked you that too. How long did it take you to
Yeah, they want to
how,
smoke.
how long did it take you to learn how to use the hand control? I'm like, man, it's like a video game. Once you don't got control of
really
your legs,
is.
everything
Yep.
go to your hands, so you get
It's
right.
totally,
into it.
yeah, you would think it would be hard, but your body adapted.
Right.
The hand controls is
And it ain't like I'm mistaken trying to hit the gas on my legs.
I think if
Ooh,
I could walk,
almost.
if I could walk right now, I think I'll still be stuck in the parallel of using my hand controls.
You said if you started
you
to
start
walk right
about
now?
walking.
It just,
You would be.
It feels so.
Because you've been so used to doing it.
I don't want
It
to.
feels
I don't
safer to
want.
me.
I don't want to put that jinx on you because I'm just saying, if you was to one day just be able to start using your legs, I don't think you would just disregard your legs because it'd be the newest thing smoking. Like,
Yeah, but I just feel like, it just feels
I mean,
safe.
that's you. That's you. Yeah.
If I
just
start walking again, I would just still use hand control just for the hell of it.
not me. I wouldn't even drive. Nigga, I walk everywhere. Boy, I be walking around everywhere.
One time, I cut your grass for free.
Hey, straight up.
You got your garbage. I'm doing all that.
All that. I'll be doing karate kicks in the house for no
I
reason.
just had to argue with
Skipping.
my mother. We got
Everywhere I go. No, hell
Y'all
no.
take walking for granted. People
For
really
real. I hate when people tell me they come to my apartment. I gotta walk up all them stairs.
Yeah.
You looking at me talking about you gotta walk up all the stairs. Okay.
taking shit for granted.
My
That's real.
friends used to always tell me that their feet fall asleep when they drive.
Yeah,
My
okay.
hand never fell asleep.
My hand gets tired, and
You
I'm
get
talking about
tired.
only thing because of the way my hand gets, I literally can drive and steer with the same arm, So I didn't, like a drive where you even if you're going somewhere that's 10 minutes away, you know what I'm saying, you constantly holding in that position. I'm like, I'm gonna put cruise control on because first of all, your arm is up there. I don't have balance, so I'm using my balance either on the steering wheel or on the side of the car. I mean, I take a break and use my right hand to just cruise with my finger down at the bottom. I mean, I ain't gonna say I fell asleep.
And I think
Yeah.
using hand controls also contributed to my rotator cuff tears.
Because you constantly got your
constantly
arm up
doing
there.
all day, and I'm transferring and driving.
Yeah.
It's been going on for years.
One of the things too that is why again speaking about transportation, when you get into your car, do you place your legs a certain way depending on? Because I know I still have spasms. I know you told me you have spasms. They played a big part too of my reluctance to take long drives because of my spasms. Due to me constantly sitting, you start spasming, and you don't want to kick a pedal and nothing like that. But do you place your legs a certain way to kind of prevent from spasm, make it easy for you to drive?
Place them straight. No, when I was having really, really bad spasms, I used to have to kind of bend them, upward. But
What you mean? Like describe it so people that make.
like if I'm sitting, like and my leg, it's not straight. Like it's kind of like
So you say, so are you crossing your legs?
kinda.
Right, 'cause that's what I do when I get in.
Kinda, yeah.
Like somebody would have their legs normally. When I get in, I transfer in, of course, and I take this leg and put it to like where my
Yep.
I'll be the outside of my foot is laying down on the ground, and I cross this one over, and I feel like when I spasm. Yeah, that's why I say cross your legs, but it's a different. What I did different before too, when it's come down to crossing your legs, I used to take one leg and just put it to the side and put the left one out. Or one thing I did too is I would put my foot up to where now my foot is planted on the ground with the right one, and then just kind of let the left one stay away too. But like you said, when my spasms changed, it went from me spasming to my knee coming up to my leg kicking straight out.
FYI, we got like 4 minutes.
Yeah, and then so what I decided to do was if I cross my legs, if I was to spasm straight out, then one of my legs would catch it from spasming, and at that point, I didn't did it before. I had to throw my car in neutral because my foot jump out and kick the accelerator. That is not something you
Especially on the highway. Me personally, but that's in the past. I don't,
But that's what happened when my first 2 vehicles I had a full-size conversion van, then I had a small one because I'm so tall. I used to have to fold my legs, Indian style. But then I was traveling for rugby tournaments, driving 8 or 9 hours.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And what it ended up doing was cracking the bones on both of my fingers. That's why I had to have hip surgery because my legs would be spasming, but they folded Indian style. They ain't got nowhere to go, so it literally cracked the bones on both of my femurs. And that's why I ended up one of the reasons I had to have hip surgery, and they had to cut some of the femur off of both of my bones. That's why my legs are shorter than what they used to be.
This mechanic told me he would actually drill 2 metal screws with a circle on it, in my car. And you ever seen like a leg weight?
Yeah.
Strap
Put
around
it on
your
there
leg.
and then just strap that.
Oh,
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't, because then if you got the car accident, you're gonna be fucked.
Yeah, that's one of the things. So I'd be scared about that.
Yeah.
But that's another thing too. Why I said again, I like permanent hand control. Permanent hand controls because my hand controls go to the top of my pedals. It follows underneath the steering wheel and it goes over to the left and then comes out the way. So if I have a car accident and I end up going forward, I'll be okay. If you get into a car accident with a hand control sitting inside of your lap, your abdominal area is gonna be screwed. And there ain't no airbag gonna be to save you from this. That's another reason why I said okay, portable hand controls might be something I might want to steer away
I
from.
never thought about that. Wow.
Hopefully you ain't had no problem with that yet, but I'm just saying if it was to happen, the airbag ain't gonna help you, and you that's gonna be pretty.
Is there
a lot of times I don't
any
wear my
more
seatbelt
struggles, like as far as when it comes to just driving?
I know one of the things too when you said about the hips, I think everybody should take into account on your level of injury and how your body is made is to always remember you can get a pressure sore anywhere, any place, anytime, and driving is no exception. So I made sure that I had a Rojo cushion that has air in it. So when I'm taking a drive, it's easier to be sitting in your chair and we do a pressure relief or a movement. But when you're in a car, you want to have something that's that give you enough time to where if you don't in a position where you can readjust, that you won't gradually get a bed sore, which it can happen if you on an hour drive, 2-hour drive, even a 30-minute drive, you sitting in one spot, you can get a bed sore or a pressure ulcer.
And I'm figuring this out because I got heated seats in this car, so it keeps your little booty and the blood circulating. And more because it's more warm under there and it's leather instead of me sitting on that stuff or whatever.
You always turn my heat.
I always turn it on.
I got a cushion in my car, so heated seat won't help me. It's gonna heat at the bottom of the cushion. That's what I was saying. I didn't get a pressure ulcer since I've been sitting on a cushion inside of the car. When I try to get something where, people just buy a little cushion or buy a little pillow or something like that, I caught a bed sore on my coccyx area, which is of course the tailbone, because that's where you put all your weight at. I don't care. Some people drive cool, some people drive, but all that pressure is on that one point. So I decided goodness gracious. I can, do you
Instead of your booty ball,
Do
you don't want to use the booty ball.
do you have an issue with that?
Your
I'm trying
coccyx.
to look.
Oh,
You gotta get down that medical jargon.
We definitely got to get more informative videos like this, man. I think.
and everything ain't gonna be all.
No, these like I said, it's
We're
our
gonna have some fun too.
I feel like just for the way I started, the way probably better off an ending. We'll come with different people different topics, and I want to hopefully get some different professionals. That'd be great to have somebody come on here that's a professional, maybe like one of those teachers that actually help people.
So we're looking for
in the
professionals. Come on
transition,
here.
or again, just somebody to have an experience with not wanting to drive, or somebody to have experience in drive. Because I know a guy that tries to drive a truck, which to me is just like, you're doing kind of too much, but he love it. He drive a Jeep, and he love it. You got to hop up in his car, and it's
I know
like,
some people drive pickup trucks.
yeah, and there's also one of them hand control things where it actually reaches out and they grab the chair for them. Those type of things is something else also that we don't experience, but I've seen it out there.
Somebody tried to sell me a piece like, all right, you want a pickup truck? Showed me the setup. I thought about it. I don't need no pickup
Right.
truck.
So it's gonna be some things, some topics that we can speak on, and during them topics, gonna be some options that we cannot speak on. So if anybody want to put in the comments, you want to come on and talk about it, or you got your own experiences, that'd be perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
But we're gonna try to do this hour sessions, maybe sometimes shorter, maybe sometimes a little bit longer, on a consistent basis, depending on the availability of all of us, of course. And then we try to keep everything open.
Honest.
No, right? Yeah, of course. Hopefully honest. No, look, we say stop the cap, but like I want to have people just be able to have.
Don't come
open
on here, cat.
dialogue. I pointed out.
Yeah,
if
we
I
point
find
out cat.
So it's one of those things where it's going to have open dialogue about your experiences and your likes, your dislike. One of the things I want to get into too is pain management. I constantly have issues with pain. I'm pretty sure y'all got issues with pain and spasms. That'd be a good idea to get on here and talk
What you
about.
get women for?
I'm sorry.
That's
To
my
get
inside
people
voice.
talking about some professionals, like some people from pain management clinics or some spasticity people, and we can speak about the problems, the solutions, because I feel like I'm just degenerating. I've had problems before that I didn't have that I'm having now, and some people say, well, I'm not having no problem I used to have. So it's just different experiences
Yeah.
and different ways to tackle obstacles and stuff that we're going through, and at the same time trying to uplift people that maybe not have a bright outlook, or
I mean, all the possibilities. Life doesn't end because you end up with a spinal cord injury or disability.
I mean,
You got three people from
it's-
3 different walks of lives who have experienced, even though it's been violence with gun violence, who are thriving, living life. Whether and it doesn't make a difference if you got a disability or not. Support is one of the biggest things you can have in life to do.
Absolutely.
Ain't nobody in this world did nothing by themselves.
and it definitely be helping people that know somebody's in a wheelchair and they're not able to articulate the issues and the problems they have,
Right.
or they may feel like the burden to you. And
You take on
because right, yeah, because I mean, I was in a situation where I was doing everything for myself, and now I got people doing something for me, and you just kind of feel like I don't want to act that person, but it's a whole lot of mental.
we the gorilla grew with
barriers.
disability.
we-
Yeah, we the
it's-
gorilla
it's
grew
a lot
with
of it's a
disability.
lot of
We gonna
different
put it all
barriers
Put it together.
that you have to go through when you become a newly acquired spinal cord injury to where you are now. So this stuff didn't happen overnight. You've been injured for how long?
I was 14, man.
So now that's
about
20 years.
So 20 years, and you
I'm 30.
30 years, and I'm 10. So it'd be July 11. So yeah. Anybody new that want to come on here and speak, we'll be setting up. I'll be posting another time that we'll be trying to set up a potential broadcast.
We do this at least
Also-
twice a month, or you want to?
I want to probably do it more, because I think also too we try to incorporate a spinal cord injury group.
We're looking weekly.
Like I said,
Also do-
it depends on.
we
I mean,
also do
it could be something on the
virtual
fly.
too, right? We also
Yeah,
do
it could be something on the
virtual.
fly. If I feel like I need to post something, or if I run across people who are afraid of it, if I can post that, then I'll post that, and then because it's all, like I said, trying to just have people that's in the shadows come out and be able to understand that, again, like you said, we don't have to just survive with a spinal cord injury. You can thrive, So that's why.
Any views or comments on any other videos that are not associated with this podcast that I may have do or say has nothing to do with this, so totally disregard.
He basically
My
be on-
personal stuff
he
is
basically
my
on a bunch of
personal
BS. So yeah, but with that, if we ever see any comments, personally me, if I ever see any comments or questions, I'll try to address them on the next podcast, maybe in the beginning or after, or if you need to chime in with us individually, you can always make a comment and put a comment in the box, and we try to get back to you as best we can.
And we got people trying to bum rush our scenes, so we got to get out of here.
All right, it's a good
That was good, man. I definitely enjoyed it. was good.
But I'm talking, man, we still live, we still video.
You can stop talking. You can do whatever you want to, but I just know my thing is that we need to get some consistency and get some more people now to make it even better.
Well, I mean, even if it's just us three again next week, as long as we got a top, but now the goal is gonna get to more people in here. I think that ain't gonna be hard.
Yeah, I'm still at Independence First, my friend.
We got a bunch of people here that are like these people in the AT company bringing all this stuff.
I'm still here. I'm gonna call